company or corporation doesnt. Story 1. King Arthur Baking Company. They are employee-owned, so they don't have to answer to shareholders and are not solely profit-driven. They have high-quality products, provide tons of free resources to bakers from their test kitchen. The Vermont store and baking school are a delight. I imagine their West Coast location is too, but I haven't been there yet. They run programs to support local bakeries and provide baking education to children. I used their flour for years, and when I started learning about who they are as a company, it just made me love them even more. Story 2. Newman's Own. The foundation continues Paul Newman's commitment to use all the money that it receives from the sale of Newman's Own products to support children, their families, and their communities. Story 3. Timpson in the UK. They cut keys, dry clean and maybe mend shoes. They hire a lot of ex-prisoners and will dry clean a suit for free if you're going for an interview and are homeless and afford it. The new government introduced him to the House of Lords and gave him a position which I was really glad for. I think it has broken down since though. Story 4. Chewy. Best customer service I've ever encountered. I once made a mistake and ordered 2 bags of food when I needed one. I was switching my dog's food and forgot to cancel the old food, so both showed up. I asked if I could potentially return the unopened bag at my own shipping costs and potentially get a refund for it, and with no questions asked they refunded me and told me to donate the extra food to a shelter. I've heard tons of stories about how understanding and caring they are when a pet passes away again. Story 5. Framework. A computer manufacturer that focuses on making laptops durable, reparable if they do break, user serviceable so they last longer, and long-term support for inevitable replacements like batteries. Story 6. Patagonia. They have solid environmental and labor practices and give back through grants. They aren't perfect, but when they make a mistake they own up to it and fix it, and they make high-quality, durable products. They also support a second-hand market on their main website. Story 7. I work for General Dynamics Information Technology GDIT. I have been very impressed with the company. When my team of 12 people were bought out by GDIT, I had a subordinate manager have her parent go into hospice care and needed family medical leave to care of her father. According to the federal guidelines, you must have worked 1,250 hours during the 12 months prior to the start of leave. Since we were just hired by the company, my teammate didn't qualify. I called up HR and they immediately waived the requirement and told me to give her as much time as she needed. Within 2 weeks, another member of my team has the same problem. Again, corporate granted us as much time as we needed. They even offered to send floral edible arrangements to the families whatever we wanted. Then my wife had a cancer scare and needed an immediate hysterectomy. Aside from the obvious hospital stay, my wife needed 6 weeks of post-operation recovery. Again, GDIT allowed me to work from home to take care of my wife and daughter. As a mid-level manager they routinely share openings for people to move up and around and offer training and professional development training for my team. They paid for me to attend a PMP boot camp, members of my team to attend conferences, schools, and other such events. They routinely allow me to push spot bonuses, raises, and incentives to my team. In fact, I am putting on a training event next week and agreed to pay for me to cater breakfast and lunch for 40 people. They really seem to care about our people and empower me as a manager. Very impressed with them. Story 8. It's not hard to find corporations or companies that do a lot of objectively evil things in the name of making money, but it's also worth looking for companies that do the opposite. I ask this after recently embracing Steam for gaming instead of PlayStation. And the service I've gotten from Valve, the company behind Steam, has been absolutely wonderful and a breath of fresh air compared to Sony. Story 9. There's a restaurant where I live that is owned by a guy who supports the local soup kitchen and has supported other restaurant owners through tough times. And their food is always delicious. I say that to say that local companies, obviously not all, but a rare few, are probably the place to find the answer. Story 10. Chelsea Milling. They make Jiffy Muffin Mix. Chelsea Milling Company has received offers from debt financing companies and also from corporations that are interested in taking over the company. Holmes has stated that he prefers to maintain local control of the company, stating in an interview, "I didn't want a 28-year-old brat from Wall Street telling me how to run my company." Holmes also stated that the company's local nature contributes to their customer loyalty. Story 11. Blackmagic Design. They shipped damaged gear to the UK and back for free and fixed my issue during COVID lockdowns. I didn't incur any cost for this. They also give people access to very powerful video editing software for free if you make your own content, etc., and you pay them once you use it for professional use. Story 12. Chobani. Not sure if this is still the case, but I remember seeing a news story special where the founder of Chobani took the company public and gave it to all the employees who helped him build it up to what it was, made all his committed factory workers instant millionaires. It was really great. Story 13. Wegmans. It's consistently rated as one of the best places to work in the country. Their prices are higher than other grocery stores, but you get what you pay for. The quality and selection far surpasses anything else I've seen in the Northeast US. Story 14. Costco. I worked there for a while in one of their offices. I had taken leave when my twins were born early. They were extremely understanding and tried to work with me in a time where I wasn't even working with myself. Their return policies are extremely clear. They make nearly all of their money off of the membership fee. And at times when I'd be accessing the cost they pay for things versus the cost they sell it for, it would be nearly the same number. Story 15. Tecton Tools. Basically old-school craftsman hand tools, excellent lifetime warranty and upfront about where your tool is made, quality you can literally feel in your hand. Story 16 In-N-Out Burger has always treated its employees, associates and customers' guests with respect. The workers are very well compensated and the menu items are priced very fairly. The food quality has been consistent since 1945, they spend very little on advertising and are not beholden to shareholders. They are old school in many ways and they only promote from within, so if you want to run a store 150K salary you need to start at the bottom like everybody else. One caveat, they donate lots of money to the GOP. Story 17 Chobani, the owner, Hamdi Olukaya, is actually one of the rare good CEOs who pumps more money back into his employees and the community he helped revitalize than most other CEOs. He once did a TED Talk on how to make profits without sacrificing your morals. I wish more people would have watched it. Olukaya's anti-CEO playback redefines success: prioritize people, engage with communities, and be accountable to consumers. Story 18 Quick Trip Gas Station's former employee. Don is extremely good to his workers. While I was overworked at my particular store, I can't sing enough praises about the actual company. Story 19 Highly Concentra 8 TED HC8 in Florida. Better than the Planet of the Vape Shop, Little Caesars Pizza, for the speed and price for pizzas, Microcenter for computer parts. Story 20 Lego is one of the less bad companies. They pay a lot to the Danish infrastructure, they actively support projects to make the world green, they have a great work ethic even by Danish standards. They might not be the best company, but they certainly don't either. Story 21 Penzeys Spices. Not only do they sell every spice under the sun for cooking and baking, but they also have this on their website, watching the slow decline of the Republican Party over the last half-century, and the steep decline, bottom falling out over the last decade. It can be easy to see the nonsense that has overtaken the party as pretty much random. Once you start seriously looking at the problems America and the world face and who and what are standing in the way of solving those problems, it quickly becomes clear there is nothing random to what the Republicans are promoting. The Republican departure from conservative values and embrace of what, from a distance, looks a whole lot like insanity didn't happen by chance. All of it has been intelligently crafted with the goal of preserving the position of those who profit from the inhumanity that is at the very roots of pretty much every problem we are facing. From the environment, to racism, discrimination, to health, to saving our democracy at home and growing it abroad. Half the time Republicans are intentionally blocking the solution to the problems we face. The other half of the time they are the problem we face. The truth of our time is we've arrived at the point where there's no way to respect the nonsense the Republican Party is promoting and have any hope of overcoming the problems we as a nation and we as a planet face. Given the choice between saving America and planet Earth or saving the feelings of Republican voters, we are choosing to side with saving our country and our world. I'm sorry it's come to this. Much more at the link. Story 22 Get your spices here. Not only are they good, they actively push the lib message against Trump Republicans. There's even a link on their homepage about Republicans. Story 23 I've never bothered to read up on them, so I'm sure someone is going to hop in and tell me they're horrible in some way, but we've had great luck with Chewy. They're a little pricey, but not obscenely so. Their customer service seems to actually exist and be decent. Last time we had to use it anyway, and they're pretty fast with deliveries. During the pandemic, when supply of everything was all over the place, we got a note from them saying where there were shortages of stuff, they were prioritizing long-time customers like us, so that was nice. Story 24 Aldi, Waffle House, Casey's General Stores, Costco, and many more. If they're family or employee-owned, they'll typically be better, not always, because there's no fiduciary responsibility to make a profit for shareholders. Story 25 Laurel. They are one of the few no-animal testing companies which actually are. They hold patents to some of the most advanced synthetic skin in the world. Story 26 I think Buck ES. According to the boards outside, they pay their employees very well, especially for a truck stop. Granted, they are a big company from Texas, so I also wouldn't be surprised if they backed some politician I don't agree with. LOL. Story 27 Moa. I have multiple friends who currently work there or have worked there, and they've said great things about how the company treats their employees. Story 28 Concept 2 makes the gold standard rowing machine. High-quality equipment holds its value really well, so you can buy-sell one new or used for close to the same price. I have never had any problems with my machine, but customer service has a great reputation for helping users troubleshoot issues, and replacement parts are very reasonably priced. Use their app to log your workouts and they will send you free swag at milestone workouts every 1 million meters rowed. The founders also transferred 100 of their ownership to a perpetual purpose trust earlier this year to ensure it never falls into the hands of private equity, to preserve their company values and prevent the inevitable enshittification. Such a great company. Story 29 My employer Merrill Lynch, owned by Bank of America, has been really great for me and my family. I am currently on a 16-week 100 paid paternity leave for the second time, one for each kid. The benefits are fantastic, from 401k match and INV management program for an employee restricted stock program, childcare reimbursement, $275 kid per month EV purchase credit on top of government incentive. They will pay us like 4 to 7k to buy a new EV, fertility and family planning up to 20k to try and adopt, foster, IVF etc. to have a family, health ins. It is cheaper for me to cover my entire family than many pay for themselves. I get 2 weeks sick and 4 weeks vacation a year education reimbursement. There are more, but I tell people regularly that employers spend so much money and time finding the right candidates for them to make money. We as job seekers should do the same when searching for employment. Also Reef Lifestyle, also great. My wife works there, and in a nearby city. Dr. Bronner's is well known for being an incredible place to work. Lowest paid employee to CEO I think is 4x salary cap, and they buy their employees lunch every single day plus a lot more benefits. Worth a Google. Story 30 Lego, God tier customer service. You can actually talk to a person who speaks English. Indiana the event you don't get every piece. They replace them free of charge. Story 31 If you live in New England, Demoulas Market Basket. They pay their employees decently, have excellent benefits, and the prices at their stores are cheaper than other stores. For example, the same jar of Cane's mayonnaise that I bought at Star Market costs $1 less at Market Basket. Much of the success of that company is from the current CEO, Arthur T. Demoulas. Several years ago, his cousin tried to force him out and take over the company. The staffers, even though they are not unionized, went out on strike, and their passionate customers, I am serious about the passionate, went elsewhere to do their shopping, but would go by their local Market Basket and stick their receipt on the doors to demonstrate that they were doing their grocery shopping elsewhere. Eventually Arthur T. was brought back. Recently there's been a corporate dust-up, and Arthur T. is on paid administrative leave, some sort of kerfuffle about whether he has made succession plans. Story 32's Burgers in Seattle, high wages, good benefits, shockingly fast service, and delicious, cheap burgers, proof that it's possible for a company to have it all if its management isn't wholly committed to being totally extractive. Hello Games, they've been patching No Man's Sky for 8 years now, all for free. People even bought a billboard near their office that thanked the Hello Games team. Story 33 When COVID happened, Lego told all their store employees to go home for the duration. They'd keep paying them just the same. Company kept that promise and preserved their reputation as a very wholesome toy maker. Story 34 Penzi Spices, they're very liberal, very much so 8,647 FDT, and don't seem to give AF about losing conservative customers. They must like bland food anyway. Black pepper is too spicy for maggots. Plus their spices are dope too, so that's good. Story 35 Penzi Spices is a fave of mine. As far as I've found, they ethically source their products, donate to various charities, and are unabashedly outspoken when it comes to political injustice. Story 36 Good, store owned by Hank and John Green, inspired by Newman's Own, and all profits go to charity. Currently they have a lineup of socks, coffee, tea, soap, and eco-conscious cleaning supplies. All their products are fair trade, ethically sourced and eco-friendly. You can do one-time purchases or subscriptions for products. Story 37 In and Out is pretty good. I have known multiple people for the past 25 years who have made a good living working there, and I usually see smiling faces every I eat from multiple locations. Story 38 I used to work for a mega corporate nationwide insurance company, and they were as evil as one would expect. Then I went to a regional mutual insurer, and it's night and day, like holy, you actually want us to pay people's claims and make them whole. Will do, boss. Story 39 Patagonia. They donate a percentage of their profits to environmental causes, improved workers' rights and supply chain, and is B Corp, meaning that employees, communities, and environment rank alongside shareholders in the decision-making process. Story 40 Lego. While their prices have started to get a bit unreasonable at times, their customer service is the best I've encountered for a company of their size. The largest toy manufacturer in the world goes out of their way to ensure people are satisfied. Story 41 The problem here, and the reason the number of companies mentioned in all these posts is so small, is that not sucking, or specifically the reputation thereof, is something that has value. Anything that has value can be sold off for a profit. So any company that builds up a reputation over time for being good, eventually falls to owners who realize they can extract the value from that reputation itself. It comes in various forms, but generally they recognize, especially with durable goods, where people often haven't bought them in a while, that there is a reasonably long window of time, several years at minimum, where you can cut the value of what you provide but still coast on the reputation of what you used to provide. I always buy X brand tools, and so did my dad. You don't track ownership or manufacturing practices of the company or know that they farmed out their customer service. So 5 years and 3 expensive tools later you might have a different opinion, but in that time they've made good money from you and lots of others, and the executives have all gotten their bonuses for reduced costs. The reduced revenues lag by years, so this benefits the CEO and all the shareholders looking for quick returns, while ultimately making things worse for the customers, the employees, and the world in general. Story 42 I'm sure I remember reading an article once about Gore-Tex and how they structure their management for the positive benefits of their employees. They get to vote, nominate for promotion, and so on, part of a wider approach to looking after your workforce. I'll try and dig it up. Story 43 Half-price books. You just walk in and buy used books for a reasonable price. They don't make it needlessly complicated, and they don't use any false advertising, just a bookstore. Story 44 Homeboy Industries. Homeboy Industries is the largest gang rehabilitation and reentry program in the world. For over 30 years, we have stood as a beacon of hope in Los Angeles to provide training and support to formerly gang-involved and previously incarcerated people. allowing them to redirect their lives and become contributing members of our community. Instead of just throwing money at a problem, they're working to help these people move past their past and give them a future. Story 45 Concept 2, Gold Standard in the Industry. Products built like tanks, fully replaceable and serviceable, plus the owners recently sold the company to an independent trust so that it could stick to its original philosophy instead of appeasing to shareholders. Story 46 Dr. Bronner's Soaps, absurdly transparent. They share the most detailed financial statements for everyone to look at as a private company, incredible worker retention, environmentally conscious, CEO only earns 5x what the lowest worker earns. Honestly, they are impressive. I prefer other soaps, but they're so awesome I buy them anyway and tell all my friends as well. Story 47 Zipline. I've worked there for 9 years now. We're making delivery drones that are delightful rather than annoying. We've used our system to meaningfully improve healthcare systems in several African countries, and saved thousands of lives in the process. As a company, I've felt overwhelmingly valued and supported the whole time I've been there. Employees are expected to take extreme ownership of whatever they're working on, and encouraged to bypass any levels of the org chart as needed to get stuff done. Story 48 Orvis Fly Fishing Outfitter and Apparel Company, family-owned, employees make a living wage. They do lots for conservation and provide many educational resources free of charge. Story 49 I'm not sure a corp can ever be good. I think they are all evil. Anything that requires unlimited growth in a world with finite resources is literally at odds with the planet. Or how about how all core are cannibalizing their own workers because there is nowhere else to save any more money from? The only answer now is to make one person do the work of 3 and threaten to replace them if they speak to it. The whole thing is rotten. Story 50 What I notice is that most of the companies stated in this comment section are not publicly traded, and the ones that are on a stock exchange are outliers. Story 51 A company 100 owned and managed by the workers democratically. Any other company sucks. Even the company above ultimately sucks until every company in the world is such a company, but they might get a pass for doing what they can along the way. It depends on their profit motive and structuring. Story 52 A dog and cat shelter in Chicago, one tail at a time, has a mutual aid resource. Take what you need, leave what you can, food, leashes, pet clothes, unused litter boxes, etc. They truly believe money shouldn't limit you from having pets.